What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Casual Sports Report podcast. I'm Mike Wolfgang alongside
Matt Morrison
and Alec Caberna, as always.
We weren't here last Monday on Memorial Day, so we got a lot to get into here. We got opening weekend in the NFL. We got a little bit as the NBA playoffs progress, NHL playoffs progress, and a little bit of MLB news. So we're going to start off with NBA talk here. Alec's going to lead us.
Yeah, I am. But, before we get into NBA talk, Matt and I have some exciting news to announce. So last Friday, Matt and I got to call our first ever high school broadcast.
It was Brookfield versus Garfield.
The Battle of the Fields.
Yeah.
It was a one-sided demolition.
46-7 it was?
Yeah,
Garfield?
I think it was 46-7. Garfield destroyed Brookfield. We won't talk too much about the game, but we got to call it on ysnlive.com. We're going to be back again this Friday. We got Liberty Leopards taking on
Campbell Memorial
Red Devils.
Red Devils.
We're calling that game on Friday. It's going to be on ysnlive.com. You go on there. It's $10 for the football game. It helps us out. It helps them out. They're a local company here. So you're supporting a small business. We hope you guys enjoy. Let's get back into the show, though. So, NBA. Conference finals are just about here. We got game one of the Heat versus Celtics tonight. But before we get into that, we still have one game left in the conference semifinals for the Western Conference. And that is the Clippers and the Nuggets. The Clippers started this series out. They went up 3-1. But now, for the second series in a row, the Nuggets have come back from a 3-1 deficit to force a Game 7. What are we thinking here? We got one game left. This one's going on tonight.
I mean, it's make or break for the Clippers.
Yeah.
This is what they put the team together for.
So the Clippers are favored still, but I really think the Nuggets have all the momentum. I think they're just going to take it on through. I really see the Nuggets taking it.
They know how to close out a Game 7. We saw it last time out.
See it.
They've definitely showed that never quit attitude. I mean, down 3-1 in the first round, they come back and force Game 7 and then win it, and then they force Game 7 in this one.
Right, the Clippers are almost looking complacent at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same thing with the Jazz. They went up 3-1. They thought they had this in the bag, and then, here comes Jamal Murray. Here comes Nikola Jokic. They start dropping 36, 40-point games and back-to-backs. We start seeing this. I mean, let's talk about the effects if either team doesn't win this game. I mean, so we got the Nuggets, promising young team, and they're exciting to watch. This is their second back-to-back 3-1 comeback. They took the series against the Jazz. Jamal Murray is turning into a star if he isn't one already. Nikola Jokic has continued to prove that he's one of the best offensive big men in the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose this, it's not really the biggest for them. No one expected them to be able to take the Clippers to Game 7. And they have a lot of young talent that really isn't going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you look at the Nuggets, like you're saying, they have that nucleus impact, and they're going to be there for a while. But like as opposed to the Clippers, this is what they've worked all offseason for to get Paul George. They got Kawhi Leonard. They all these pieces put in place for this moment. So
Right.
it would be heartbreaking for them not winning games.
Right.
Game
So
7,
now we go over to the Clippers side. If they don't win, how does this impact the legacy of Kawhi Leonard? Gets the superstar all team. And, I mean, think about who's on this team. Paul George. One, this is going to hurt his legacy even more. I mean, he just can't get it
this
done.
whole playoff run so far.
And this isn't just with Clippers. It's with Indiana. It's with
Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
where he was
OKC.
MVP runner-up.
Yeah.
Then you look who else is on this team. I mean, everybody was calling all the fanfare, all the hype. They were calling Clippers in 4 for the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They're getting a new stadium in 2024, located right next to the new SoFi Stadium they built for the Los Angeles Rams. That cost $5 billion. Yeah. They have 2 candidates for the 6th Man of the Year every time coming out now. Then a returning candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive player Patrick Beverley.
Mm-hmm.
On the offensive side, on the 6th man. Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell, the current winner, who just won it, by the way. I mean, what more can you give this team? What more can you give Kawhi Leonard? I mean, people are calling him the best basketball player in the world at the moment, currently playing, and he can't get it done. I mean, if you look at the stats, he is putting the points, but there's got to be something else in there that we're missing. How can this team blow a 3-1 lead like this?
I don't know. I mean, They have the team, like you said. They have Lou.
They have no
Beverly.
excuse if they lose this game.
Yeah, there is no
They
excuse.
can't blame this on the refs because they should have. They've had 3 games to close out this series.
I mean, and talking about the pieces they have, over the course of the season, at the trade deadline, they got Reggie Jackson, they got one of the Morris twins, so they have balanced scoring, they have talent at every position.
Right.
So they just have to put it together.
They're just like the Browns. They have everything they need, and they still can't do it.
Right, they put up 6 points against the Ravens. I mean, it happens.
Just for the Clippers, it's just a matter of putting it all together, and what better game to do than a Game 7, and to move on to play the Lakers as we were all anticipating the whole season.
And especially if you're looking at the Lakers, this becomes an increasingly interesting situation because if you look at every series that the Lakers have been in, they lose Game 1, then they take the next 4. Remember, if like we talk about that happens again, Lakers lose Game 1, Nuggets would go up 1-0. Then Lakers take the next 3. Well, now we got another 3-1 situation, and we know how the Nuggets respond to 3-1.
Right.
I don't think any team has ever come back from multiple 3-1 deficits in the NBA playoffs.
Consecutively. In this, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Right.
What they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, go down 3-1, then win that, then do the same thing in the NBA Finals.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I would have to say. So
it's already crazy. That'd be something more than crazy.
Who do we think is taking the game tonight? Clippers, Nuggets, or tomorrow? Clippers, Nuggets.
I just said it. I think the Nuggets have all the
You
momentum.
got the Nugs. Mike?
I gotta go with the Clippers just because
the Clippers is the smart bet.
We're talking about,
it's so hard in the NBA to win 3 consecutive games against such a talented team.
We just got done talking about how much talent they have, and we just got done talking about how Kawhi, as many believe, could be or might be the best player currently in the NBA. So, I mean, I'm going to ride that boat.
Anything can happen in this. I mean,
That's
there's no more
sure.
Giannis, and there's,
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second here.
So, all the big names have gone down so far, so.
Right. I mean, we're looking at this playoffs. I don't know if we've had a crazier one in recent memory.
Or a more competitive one as well.
In recent memory. I mean, when do we ever see 8th seeds pulling off a victory against the 1 seed? Game 7s in just about every series so far. It's been absolutely astonishing to watch. And I just think the way this season is going with upsets and people having miraculous performances. I mean, look at Jamal Murray, especially when he was facing Donovan Mitchell, 50-point games out the wazoo, and that's why I'm taking the Nuggets tonight.
It's not a bad pick. I'm just taking the safe pick.
I mean, the Clippers is the safe pick. If you're putting money on it, you're putting it on the Clippers. I wouldn't put money on this game, though.
I was very tempted to take Denver in the Game 7, but the safe pick is the
Mike,
Clippers.
you and I have been very same picks this whole season, playoff season. It's like one of the few times we're breaking off from each other. We'll get to see who wins this one.
Matt's always out there.
Yeah. Matt's always like, I'm taking the Orlando Magic in 6.
I didn't say
no,
that.
you didn't pick that one.
No, but it's absurd stuff like that.
I did.
You picked the Blazers.
Yeah.
You picked the Blazers in 6 or 7. That one turned out all right.
So we got the Lakers waiting for the winner of this game.
But I did pick Boston in 7.
Yeah, you did.
Exactly
Matt was the
happened.
only one that picked Matt to take the Raptors. So speaking of the Eastern Conference, let's move over to them. We got the Miami Heat. They just pulled off possibly the biggest upset in NBA history.
Very easily, too.
Right. But, I mean, the only one bigger, in at least recent memory that I could think of calling maybe, would be the Cavaliers coming back 3-1 over the, best record of all time, Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
I mean, that was an upset in its own right. One, because of how stacked the team was, their record of the season, and the 3-1 deficit. But now, the Bucks' best record in the NBA this season, they have Giannis, reigning MVP, might win back-to-backs now. We've talked about that in its own right. They couldn't get it done. They lost 4-1 in the series.
Giannis had that injury late in the series.
Right. Miami has all the momentum in the world. They swept round 1, which nobody thought was happening.
No.
They swept round 1 against the Pacers. Then they go take out the heavily favored Giannis Milwaukee Bucks. And now they're taking on the Celtics, who a lot of people still have favored. I picked Miami Heat as my dark horse candidate for the NBA
and I
champion.
can attest to that because I was there.
Right. I mean, it's on a broadcast. You guys can go watch it if you want.
Yeah.
Roll the clip.
We encourage you to.
Yeah, we encourage you to. Get us them views.
Um,
Make sure to like and subscribe if you like.
Yeah, go watch my Cardiac Kid ones.
Turn on notifications.
But yeah, getting back to the.
But then we go on the other side of the ball. Let's look at the Celtics. Celtics just had a very competitive series against the Raptors. They went 7 games. We saw how talented this starting 5 is, much like we were saying before that series even started. This, I believe it was game 6 or 7 against the Raptors. Their starting lineup played the entire second half and then the overtime.
Yeah, I think they played like 50 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. There were guys that game totaling 50 minutes.
Kemba and Jason Tatum had like 50
Right, and then even on the Raptors,
Kyle
had like
Lowry.
52.
Between the two
Kyle
teams,
There was like 9 or 10 guys that had all played over 40 minutes.
There was like over like 40, 50 minutes, and I think that was an NBA record. That's the first time it's ever happened.
Right. It was absolutely insane to watch. We had these crazy moments where Kyle Lowry inbounds the ball over Taco Fall, over to the opposite corner. OG Anunoby grabs the ball, puts it up with 0.6 left, and it goes in. Gave us some great moments. So now we have this really competitive series. All these guys are exhausted. Now you have to turn right around and take on a red, steaming hot Miami Heat. Don't mind the pun there. What are we thinking is going on here?
I mean, Miami's on a great run. They've only lost a game so far in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, like I said, it took down Milwaukee pretty easily.
Pretty easily. And, I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm going to make the pick I'm going to make right here.
Well, let's talk about
more about this.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just putting that
Yeah, we know you're picking the Heat.
It's definitely going to be...
Yeah, shut up, kid. Mike, what were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say it's definitely gonna be a competitive one. I mean, Miami scraps; they play hard, and same with Boston. And like you were saying,
I mean, we can beat the dead horse with the Celtics starting 5 all we want. Everybody knows
how good it is,
how good that starting 5 is, how long they can play. I mean, there's no doubt how good that starting 5 is, and clearly it didn't matter that the Raptors bench was that good, because the Raptors bench was incredible in that series. The Celtics still pulled out the victories. So, I mean, it's really going to come down starting 5 versus starting 5.
Especially in these playoff games. I mean, you cut your benches, so you don't use as much.
You may only be playing 7, 8 guys.
Right.
And that's going to be your best 7, best 8. Now, if we want to look at the best 7 players for the Miami Heat, obviously Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, Tyler Herro, Kendrick Nunn, Bam Adebayo.
Myers Leonard, the scrapper.
Myers Leonard could probably play some 10, 12 minutes. Good player coming off the bench there. Mm-hmm. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Duncan Robinson, one of the best three-point shooters in NBA history at the moment. He's absolutely racking them up.
On a roll he's been.
Right. I think he's shooting over 40% this season. He's been absolutely red hot.
He's definitely been shooting at a high clip.
So really what's going to matter here is whose shooting is going to come to the forefront for this. I mean, we know the Celtics defense is going to show up. We know Bam Adebayo is showing, and Jimmy B are going to be showing up for the Miami Heat, on defense at least. It's going to be interesting. Can Miami's three-point shooting, that's probably what's going to drive them the most in this, is can the three-point shooting hold up against the Celtics? Celtics we know are going to get theirs. We've seen it time and time again. Any given player on that starting 5 can go for 30. So it's going to be hard to defend. Jimmy B can't defend every single guy out on the wing.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes down there.
You want to make our picks?
Yeah, let's make the picks. Mike, what are you thinking here?
This is another tough one. This is another one that could probably go 6, 7 games, a long one. I think I like Boston in 6.
You're taking Boston in 6?
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
I'm going to go 7 games. Miami Heat.
Ooh, 7 to Miami.
7.
All right. So we had 6 to Boston, 7 to the Heat. In 5 games. I'm sticking with my dark horse candidate. Jimmy B and the Miami Heat are going to the NBA Finals.
In 5 games?
In 5 games. I mean, why... They haven't lost. I mean, they've lost once to the Bucks. I mean, they destroyed the best team in the league.
And we talk about it all the time. Until they prove otherwise, you got to ride the hot hand.
And
Right.
I'm gonna throw LeBron in here for a second. If they get there, they're hot.
Looks like the Lakers will
It
probably
looks
get
like.
there.
So the storylines for both of those would be amazing. It'd be Lakers Celtics again.
The greatest rivalry in NBA history.
Or
Lakers Heat.
That's
LeBron
LeBron against his old team. Like that'd be amazing.
The team that made LeBron the GOAT.
Yeah.
You're gonna have storylines. Okay, so
Any way this one goes, we're gonna have a storyline that we can pull.
Say the Clippers win Game 7, they face the Lakers in the conference finals, and they win.
Battle of LA.
First time the Clippers got there in how long, regardless of who comes out of the East. So that's a storyline there. Nuggets, I don't know the last time they've been there, if they've ever been there.
The Nuggets, the storyline writes itself. Back-to-back 3-1 comebacks.
Right.
Then you're beating the Lakers. Then you would go the Nuggets in the NBA Finals.
Like I said, I don't know if that's ever happened. Or the last time it ever happened. So you're going to have storylines no matter what happens.
Right.
On each side of the bracket.
And then, you go to the
Nuggets have
East.
never
Miami Heat makes it. Right. Find the storyline there. Miami Heat's first return since LeBron. Then it doesn't really matter who they're facing. It's their incredible run so far with only the one loss against the Bucks. The Celtics, obviously, can they build another championship with this team that they've had in so many consecutive conference finals? Storylines are all there. Everything is lining up. No matter where we get, it's going to be exciting.
It is. And like I said, there's a storyline no matter what angle it comes from. But speaking of the Bucks, what went wrong for them?
We're going to talk about that. I want to talk Western Conference. Then we're going to go to some other stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Lakers just absolutely dominated the Houston Rockets. So, besides the Game 1, they lost. It was a bad loss. But they made the adjustments going into Game 2. And they look like the better team for the rest of the series after that. Houston had small ball. It worked perfection in Game 1. It worked pretty good throughout the rest of the series. But the Lakers countered with a small ball of their own. They took out JaVale and they took out Dwight. They were playing AD at the 5. When they were playing AD at the 5, I believe the lineup, I think it was KCP, Caruso, LeBron, Kuzma, and AD. When those 5 players were on the court, I believe we saw the best efficiency rating of the playoffs so far. So they found a lineup that worked and decimated their opponent. And making adjustments in the playoffs is probably the most important part.
It is.
If you look at LeBron's career, Game 1 has never been his best game. And that's proven in both times.
And he's even said he uses his feel-out game. So
right.
we even know that coming from him.
Sometimes you almost got to think, are they letting the other team win so that they can see what they're doing well? Then they come back in Game 2 and go, all right, we just saw everything you do well. We're taking every one of those things away.
You even see what LeBron said after Game 1. He's just like, we know that they play fast, meaning the Rockets. They play fast. We got to keep up with it. And then they come out and win the next 4 games. So, we know that they use that first game as an adjustment game. And it's worked so far for them. They've lost the first game of both series so far and came back to win 4 straight.
Right. So, we don't know who they're going to be facing yet.
No.
Clippers or the Nuggets. Either way, it'll be a good series, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers, obviously, Battle of LA.
Yeah.
Super competitive. The legacy of LeBron versus, the Claw. The King, the Claw. Battle of LA. It sounds like a Terminator movie.
Pretty much the Battle of the GOAT.
The current GOAT. Let's go with, playing right now.
Yeah.
Because, the whole storyline has been LeBronto. He was in the East. He dominated everybody. People called him weak and said, you're playing in the weak East. Go out West. He goes out West, and look where he is. He's on top of the world, and he's one of the favorites to win the title again.
Didn't make it the first year, but he brought in some reinforcements.
Right.
Anthony Davis.
He was hurt.
Then they brought in some help, Anthony Davis, and then Danny
Green.
Danny Green, yep.
Right. But obviously, every team has to make roster adjustments. But, if you think of the Toronto Raptors, first time LeBron isn't in the playoffs, they win a title. Coincidence? I think not. Obviously they had Kawhi, which would have made an interesting playoff matchup if LeBron had been able to stay healthy and probably take that Lakers team to the playoffs. It was almost a guarantee.
Beat LeBronto.
Right. We could have seen Lakers, Raptors, NBA Finals. Would have been insane. But now we're seeing it in the Western Conference Finals. Kawhi, LeBron. That's a great storyline. It'd be a great matchup, too, with these two teams. The amount of stars.
It's what we've been waiting for all year.
It has been the most anticipated matchup of the year. But don't count out those Nuggets.
No.
You can't overlook them.
We still have to make it through this game.
You can't overlook
the only reason we're talking about
right.
the Western Conference Finals game is because probably by the next show we'll already go through 2 or 3 games of it, so we'll know what's happening. So let's make a prediction. Lakers versus the Clippers. Who are you taking, Mike?
If the Lakers play the Clippers.
If the Lakers play the Clippers.
Ooh. I'd probably say Lakers in 6.
Matt?
If the Lakers face the Nuggets, I say...
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, but I'm getting...
I'm saying we're going there.
No, this is what I'm saying. If they face the Clippers, I say Lakers in 6.
Okay.
If they face the Nuggets, I say Lakers in 5.
Okay, I mean, we would have gotten there next, but all right. So my Lakers-Clippers prediction would be Lakers in 5. So, Mike, you want to give me your Lakers-Nuggets prediction? If they end up going that way.
I think I'm going the same with Matt. I think if they play Denver, I'd say Lakers in 5.
I'm going Lakers in 4 if they take on the Nuggets.
Okay. You're going to sweep them.
Yeah.
I'd give them 1 game.
I don't know. I feel like
this far.
LeBron in the conference finals, he's a bad man.
He's always a
bad man anyways.
Right.
He's a bad man anyways.
I don't think we've seen LeBron's top gear yet. I don't think he's done it.
LeBron in Game 1, though, hasn't always been that good. It's always been LeBron James in Game 2 and on.
I think we're going to see it.
You think we're going to see it?
I think LeBron turns it on early.
That's all we haven't seen from him so far.
Right. Yeah. The only thing we haven't seen from LeBron in the playoffs is him showing up Game 1 and saying, "This is my court. You're just renting space today."
Right. Yeah. Do you take Clippers in 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we both have the same Clippers in 6 and Nuggets in 5.
Yeah.
So. All right. Let's talk about some other NBA news. Don't read into this one too much, but this has been a storyline in the recent days on Instagram and Twitter. People freaking out because Giannis unfollowed everybody on his Instagram page besides his family. This led some to believe, maybe there's some issues with the top guys. Maybe he wants a trade coming. But it was announced this morning that Giannis had a 3-hour meeting with the Bucks co-owner, Mark Lazary, on Friday that was about how the Bucks can improve this offseason. Lazary said that he's willing to spend more money to bring in somebody else. So that begs the question, who would they be bringing in? Who does Giannis want? Who's going to fit best with Giannis?
Well, I mean, the obvious one everybody's looking at is Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
I mean
I don't like it.
That'd be great. You don't like it?
No, I hate it.
You hate it?
Why?
Why?
Can I explain on it?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to bring in somebody. What they've been saying is they need somebody who, one, can shoot the ball and pull the ball out onto the wing, not on the wings, but out to the 3-point line, so you're clearing space in the lane.
Set everything up.
Right. Chris Paul only averaged 18 points this season. Good. It's not no discredit, but I think they're looking for somebody in the 20 to 25 point range. A better 3-point shooter. Chris Paul is good at threes, not nearly as good as he used to be. I think there's probably going to be better candidates. Once again, we're going to have to wait and see who
becomes available.
I'm thinking maybe they might be better off with a trade. I mean, get a trade package with Bledsoe and Middleton.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are going to want that.
You can get a return for that, too.
You can get a pretty good return. Throw in Middleton and somebody, and you could probably get something out of there.
You could send those guys. Say they want to do a trade with Toronto. You could send those guys to Toronto and still get. You could get Lowry, and who's the other guy? Norman Powell. He's a good 3-point shooter. Now they need somebody a little bit bigger name, I think, than that. Because Middleton is small. Now they can't go with another big. They need a point guard, a shooting guard.
I was going to go with the point guard because I don't think that is good. I think George Hill's an average NBA point guard, but I don't think he can win a championship with him
He's getting older.
Starting as a starting point guard.
Old. But he's getting older.
Everybody's getting older.
Yeah.
I can say that about you.
I am getting old, man.
But yeah, with Chris Paul, I think I would like it because
it wouldn't be bad, but I don't think it's the right fit. I think if they want a guard from the Thunder, get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be untouchable.
I mean, if you give me a package with Bledsoe, Middleton, and Corver, Clippers. I mean, Thunder can't say no to that.
The only reason I'm saying they probably would say no is because Gilgeous Alexander's young, and that's why they're going to move on from Chris Paul because they want to rebuild. So they got to have somebody like him, and it looks like that he's one of the guys they want to rebuild around.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities out here. But then if you even go, like, they want to trade somebody with the Heat because there's been talks about Giannis going to the Heat. And that's mainly because LeBron made his decision back in, like, what was that, 2009, 2010?
Yeah.
To send himself the decision. Ugh.
But yeah, with Chris Paul, I mean, he's battle tested. He's been around for a while. He's been coming off a couple of playoff runs the last couple of years. He's a steady point guard. He controls offense. He can still shoot the three, as you were talking about. And I think Giannis would play well with him.
It's possible.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, but Giannis, there's been a lot of talk about Giannis recently, though. Can he get it done? People have gone so far as saying, he's Scotty looking for Jordan. Max Kellerman said, no, he's more like Shaq looking for his Kobe. I mean, Shaq was dominant in Orlando, but it wasn't until he went to Kobe that he learned
how to win.
Well, it's not just that. When he was in Orlando, he was the only one in Orlando. All the attention was on him, much like all the attention is on Giannis. Then he goes to L.A. There's this kid, Kobe Bryant, who's like, nah, this is my ball. You're just standing there grabbing my rebound if I, make a bad shot.
That too.
Right. There's no I in team, but there's a me in mother. I can't say the rest of that. But what do you guys think of that statement? Is Giannis just another smaller Shaq, the modern day Shaq looking for his Kobe?
What do you think, Matt?
He might be a LeBron looking for his Kyrie.
You think?
Maybe.
I mean, more like LeBron looking for Wade, but okay.
Okay, LeBron, we'll go with that.
Or whatever.
We'll go with that.
Um,
That's just the first name that popped in mind, okay?
Hey, LeBron had Daniel Gibson on the Cavs. I don't know what you're talking about. He was a great point guard. Don't cut out Mo Williams either.
Yeah.
All-star right there, baby.
I don't think that's a fair statement. I mean, he's shown. I mean, at least in the regular season. I mean, I know it's different in the playoffs, but he's shown.
Shaq and MJ never won an MVP without those guys.
Right. I think with Giannis, he can be the guy. He's shown that he can be. He just won an MVP. I mean,
right.
It's just a matter of getting the right pieces around him.
I think he's not Scotty looking for his Jordan. I think he's Jordan looking for his Scotty.
Yeah,
he's definitely
more
the main star. He's never going to be a sidekick.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way. Superman. He's a Greek freak.
The Greek freak, right?
That's not a sidekick name.
You don't get that name on accident.
Exactly. Keeping it with the Bucks.
He's the Batman looking for his Robin. You really see Giannis as a Robin?
No. That'd be a massive Robin. I would hate to see Batman if he's Robin. Dear God.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have like an 8-footer in the league that's like 300 pounds and just nothing but muscle. God, if you're 8 foot tall and like 300 pounds of just nothing but muscle, go try out for the NBA. The Bucks would love you if you can shoot. Even if you can't shoot, they'll just be like, stand there. Giannis is just gonna hand the ball to you. Just keep your arm in the air and just put it in the hoop.
Better yet, to stand there and look intimidating.
Right. Just flex on him in the paint. Keeping it with the Bucks though, Kyle Korver. He said he's thinking about retirement. He has made no official announcement yet. He says he wants to talk with his family before making any announcements. Currently 4th all-time in threes. Has a great career resume.
One of the most efficient three-point shooters ever.
Right. Just about done it all.
That guy was teaching LeBron how to shoot free throws in Cleveland.
He taught LeBron how to... I mean, he taught the entire Cavs roster how to shoot a ball.
He was giving tips.
They still made the NBA Finals.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's just a great career by him in general. Nothing really you can say about him.
No, you can't.
I mean, first night in the NBA, he gets traded for a printer.
A copy machine.
Yeah, a copy machine and some cash.
Yeah.
And then turns out to be one of the greatest 3-point shooters in the history of the NBA.
If he decides to come back for... You would think maybe it was just a 1-year deal to see how he feels a year after that, but he could still get it done. I mean, he was a good 3-point shooter this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for him to...
Remember when he was with Atlanta, him and Paul Millsap at Atlanta?
They had a team there.
The Cavs swept them, but it was a hard sweep. Like, every game was like 1 or 2 points.
Exactly.
He can still get it done.
I mean, just great career by him in general. Right. If he retires or not, we're all glad we got to witness that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up. What's next for Houston? the Rockets.
Oh.
Mike D'Antoni has announced he will not be returning as the head coach. He's now a leading candidate for the 76ers job. James Harden, yet to make an NBA Finals appearance. He's played great, but it seems whatever they put around him just doesn't work when it matters most. You know, he puts up 40 points and nothing else seems to work. Are we going to see another year of small ball with the next head coach, whoever it may be?
That's where I was
Or
going
are
to
they
go.
going to trade for a center, a big guy? Maybe they get their hands on Giannis, Pascal Siakam, if they can get something like that. You know.
Harden wasn't on that KD OKC finals team.
He was. He might have been just talking about Houston, though.
Oh, okay.
He was on that team, though.
He was on that team.
That lost to Miami.
Yeah. He was. It was a young. I think
they traded him after that series.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was him, Russell Westbrook, KD.
Then they traded him after that series to Houston. I remember that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, in terms of Houston's problem or what they need to do, I think, number one, you got to start the coach. Because, as we've seen, I don't know if the small ball can work. It might work in the regular season in the first round, but in the second round of the playoffs, when you're playing a team like the Lakers, it's seen to not work.
No.
I mean, so we'll have to see where it goes. I mean, talking about, is Russell Westbrook and Harden going to work for a while? We don't know.
You know, and you got to keep in mind those players are aging every year.
Right.
You know, what do you think? I know OKC was rebuilding, but you know Russell Westbrook was.
He still made him a playoff
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah.
All right, you guys were right. I was wrong there. I saw a graphic. I thought it was on Bleacher Report the other day where they said he had been to zero. So that was probably just a thing for the Rockets.
It was.
I just read that wrong then. So, but in that situation, Harden was 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
So he was a bench player.
Oh yeah.
So. But I mean,
he didn't even have the beard.
I think it's probably the end of small ball in Houston. They're probably going to pick up somebody.
Yeah.
Because the Lakers just showed, oh, you want to play small ball?
We'll
all right, AD.
Dwight Howard in there.
I mean, that didn't work. But give it to AD. I mean, if you get a big man that can move around much like Nikola Jokic, you know, he can just go down there and do just fine.
Maybe a guy like Vucevic from Orlando.
That'd be a good pickup.
That would be good.
If they could get him.
But you mentioned Dwight Howard. How about a bounce back for him? Like
the return to LA has been just about as perfect as he can be. That's going to wrap up what I have for the NBA. Let's move in. Before we had some things planned. Let's talk college football, though.
You want to go college?
College football's back, baby. We were in full swing.
Doesn't it feel good?
We were in full swing this weekend. We had upsets coming out the wazoo. I was loving it.
Me too.
But Oklahoma just showed Lincoln Riley might be the greatest quarterback coach of all time.
He literally
Spencer Rattler was
just
incredible. Granted, against subpar competition.
Yeah.
But still, the numbers he was putting up were spectacular. I mean, there's no comparison into what he was able to do.
Speaking of upsets,
he's also like their first quarterback that they've actually recruited to play since before Baker Mayfield.
they, like I said, they just find these guys. I mean, and that's what Lincoln Riley's good at, and that's why a lot of NFL coaches want him.
I think if Oklahoma has any chance to win the NBA Finals, and not the NBA, the college football playoffs, man, I'm losing it.
We just had a week off.
We're a little loose. The college football playoffs, I think their best chances with this guy. And the next, he's a redshirt freshman, isn't he? I believe.
Yes,
redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
So they get him for at least another 2 years, at least. If they can get some wide receivers growing around him, get him a running back, and keep that defense nice and strong. Because we've seen improvements out of the defense for Oklahoma. Because they know to compete on a national level,
they have gotten better.
They need a better defense, and they continue to improve on that side of the ball. So, bright future there. The Big Ten, we may see something in the coming days. They just had a meeting last night. They've continued to talk about it. Tentative date right now, October 17th is the earliest we've heard. But we're also hearing things about Thanksgiving weekend. So that's about a month and a half
I'm gonna go
of
in
leeway.
about this for a second. All right, you
No.
can't have you be quiet. You can't have college football without the Ohio State Buckeyes, okay? And I'm a Penn State fan, but you can't have football without them even Michigan.
Not even just those teams.
Like, just the Big Ten. And
this is just me. I just don't. I don't like how. I mean, again, I'm glad to have college football back, but like, I don't like how I'm sitting there watching. Not only because my favorite team's not playing. This would be for any conference not playing.
Yeah.
It's just weird having like half the teams playing and like 2 Power 5s are out and the Mountain West is not playing. The MAC's not playing. I mean, it's just weird having half these conferences play. It's just like, how is it a true college football season when half the teams aren't playing?
It's definitely interesting, though, because...
It's not. This whole season should just have an asterisk on it.
I mean, no doubt the season will have an asterisk on it, just because, one, it's shortened. So we're not going to have as many games. And we're going to have some controversy, especially if the Big Ten can play October 17th. Because can you imagine Ohio State getting in playoffs 7-0? They go 7-0 and we're putting them in when there's a Big 12 team
teams
like
10-0
that are like 9-1.
Yeah.
Like Ohio State goes 7-0, wins the Big Ten championship, so 8-0 maybe against a 9-1 team. Where are you putting in? Are we going to say, oh, they had a better loss than Ohio State had a win?
But it's going to be weird.
They have to put into factor that some of the players, the big star players, have opted out.
Right.
For Penn State,
Marco
Parsons is out, and
Pat Freiermuth left.
Yeah, Pat Freiermuth, probably the best tight end in
prospect
college football, pretty much, almost.
Potentially, and then you go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
September 9th, I believe it was. Star defensive end Wyatt Davis, potential first-round pick, opted out.
And then today, Shaun Wade.
Yeah,
Today, once again, another first-round corner for Ohio State opts out. Shaun Wade was in the potential for getting 3 straight top 10 Ohio State cornerback picks. Yeah. Ohio State already set the record for most consecutive top 10 picks for corners with 2. They had a chance to do it with 3. I mean, we'll see what happens. Probably not going to happen now that Shaun Wade, he'll probably slip down to later first round, maybe early second, because nobody sees him in a year. I mean, he could have gone last year, and he probably only would have been second or third round. So,
and it's like if the Big Ten plays, it's going to be. It sounds like a broken record, but it's going to be different because, like we just said, notable losses for Penn State and Ohio State, and I'm sure other teams. So how is the Big Ten going to look if they play? I mean, who's going to be?
This is what I'm saying. How that factored in. If these teams can still go out there without their big stars and still wins, then that may be the way they get into that playoff. Even if
they might judge them off that, right?
They're playing with this. Pretty much the backup players.
I mean,
if they're winning all those
if
games.
We want to look at the history of college football, when we're talking about a backup quarterback or backup players' injuries and how that works, you have to go back to Ohio State when they lose their starting quarterback in Week 12, and then the backup quarterback, third-string quarterback, Cardale Jones, gets 1 game under his belt. Now the College Football Playoff Committee had to go, oh, well, shoot. Are we putting in this team that just won 59-0 against Wisconsin with a third-string quarterback? Or are we putting in TCU and Baylor that have been dominant all season, are completely healthy, and might be better offensively? I mean, that's the last time that happened, and they gave Ohio State the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And look who ended up winning
the
whole thing.
But then again, you can also go with how they've dealt with Tua Tagovailoa's injuries with Alabama. There was definitely a lot more wavering on, are we going to put these guys in? Their quarterback isn't healthy. Obviously, Alabama wasn't in the position this past year, but in the year before, I think he was dealing with an injury as well. And they still gave, them the opportunity. We saw what you did in the season. The rest of your team performed. We're giving you the chance. So that's kind of how they've dealt with players being out. If you can have your star players out and still compete at a high level, they're going to give you the opportunity to go prove yourself.
And another argument is, if they do start in October at the earliest, I mean, how ready are these guys going to be?
Right. I mean, we know they're obviously probably still in camps. I've seen the YSU football team here. They still practice.
And I have talked to some of the players here.
Yeah.
And they've been every day. They still have. It's like they're
Everyone's
still getting their workouts in. Still.
It's just like if they were having games, they come and do what they do if they were going to have games. They don't know when they're going to play, but they're being prepared.
Right. So we just saw Clemson taking on Wake Forest. Clemson just showed that they're still probably the best team in college football. Trevor Lawrence dominated. The Demon Deacons? You mean the team who finished second in the ACC last year?
That's not good. I mean, the ACC might be the worst Power
They were
5.
what? 9-3? I think they had one or two losses in the ACC, and one of those was to Clemson.
Well, yeah, for them it's good then.
I mean, a 9-win team. We're talking about if we're going into any other conference, right? Ohio State. Wasn't Iowa a 9-win team?
Last year?
Last year, Iowa. Iowa was.
Who was the 9-win team in the West?
Yeah, who was it? It might have been Iowa.
It might have been.
Right? So we're saying Ohio State goes in, open season against Iowa, and they kick their rear end 47-13. We're saying, oh my God, Ohio State or Penn State, they're the best team in the world. Clemson doesn't it's the ACC. We just saw complete and utter domination by one team. You guys are like, oh, but it was the Demon Deacons.
No, I'm not saying that.
You're an armchair quarterback.
Well,
you're like,
okay.
I could do it better.
Well, I'm saying that, but at the same time, Clemson, they are the best team probably right now in college football. It's not an argument, I don't think. So I'm not just going to blow it off because they beat Wake Forest. I'm not just going to blow it off because Wake Forest obviously isn't on their level.
I mean, obviously right now... Right now, at the moment, I mean, if you're a team, right, you don't get to pick your schedule. Your schedules are set.
They're lucky they're playing right now.
Right. I mean, if you're looking at, because out-of-conference stuff got pretty much wiped out entirely. ACC brings in Notre Dame, gives Clemson some competition. But we now have, a team, you get a schedule, you go, all right, I just have to go do the best I can against who I play. And they did that. They went out there, week 1, and went, oh, okay, we're facing
and I'm
Wake
not,
Forest.
I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying.
Then they kick their A double squiggly letters. Notre Dame finally in a conference. Kind of refreshing to see. It was like, they took on Duke, won 30-13, I think, or something like that.
Something like
it was rather close.
I know the punter from Duke. He's pretty good, though.
We could see that Pitt Notre Dame rival.
Renewed, just a little bit. Yeah. If they decide to stay in a conference after this year, still up for question.
Well, they have a contract with them, so I don't know, how long did they sign?
1 year.
It was just
just 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notre Dame in a conference for the first time, and I think they're 100 and some year
ever. Yeah.
First time ever.
Right.
It'd be nice to see them stay in it.
They've had other sports in the conference for the first time.
So they can win like
that's
a
why
championship with their division.
Right, and with this year, they joined the conference just for 1 year because they had to.
Yeah.
I mean, stay in it. That's just my opinion.
I mean, they've already broken tradition, so you might as well.
But just imagine if the Big Ten was playing, like Notre Dame came to the Big Ten. That would be cool.
Notre Dame would make more sense to join the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of Big Ten country, between two other Big Ten schools.
Yeah. Indiana. It's like right there.
Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan State are both right there. Then you cross the border, you go Illinois, Purdue. They're all right there.
It would make more sense.
It makes more sense than Nebraska.
I mean, cut out Rutgers and teams like that. I know they're in that area, but still. I mean,
what about this? If we're going to trade Rutgers and Maryland for Notre Dame.
Dude, I'm on board.
I'm on board. We'll take that one. I don't think the ACC would accept.
No. They're already bad enough.
Biggest storyline, though, from college football. The Sun Belt. Destroyed Big 12 in competition 4-0 this week.
And then it was the Raging Cajuns beat the Iowa State Cyclones.
They did.
Who was ranked 23. It was the Raging Cajuns' first top 25 victory. Brock Purdy, potential first-round pick. He's been projected to go to the Steelers.
Yeah.
Underperformed a little bit. Game 1. Probably came out a little flat.
All right, I'll give that to him. He hasn't played in a while.
Well, I mean, a lot of them haven't.
I know, but
then we saw Coastal Carolina taking on Kansas. They took that game, no problem.
Oh.
Appalachian State won it. I love that state.
Me too. They almost beat Penn State a couple years
ago. I've been a fan of App State ever since they upset Michigan. So.
They almost beat Penn State.
That would have been great.
I'm a fan of any team that beats Ohio State.
Right, Matt? So you're not a fan of Penn State? Boom!
Well, okay.
You win every 5 years.
Penn State's my favorite, and whoever plays Ohio State's my second favorite.
I don't really mind Ohio State. I can't stand Michigan.
I don't think anybody can stand Michigan. I mean, half of Michigan can't stand Michigan. They're called Spartans.
They don't even like them either.
They're right. They're like, God, can we hire a head coach, please? That's all I got for college football. Mike, you want to take this show back over?
You want to go to NFL?
I'll hand you the reins. Yeah, let's go NFL here.
All right, so we had an opening week in the NFL.
What about baseball?
Hey, there was a no-hitter. All right, let's go.
That's all I really have.
That's all we really have.
And
I'll throw it in there
hold on, yeah, the Marlins got 29 points hung up on them. How about that one?
29-9. Atlanta killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I really have for baseball is so yesterday Cubs started Alec Mills. You guys ever heard of him? Alec Mills? What? That's the guy through the no-hitter.
Didn't he just get brought up or something?
Oh, yeah, with the
I think he's already made a couple starts.
And guess who they play next? The Cleveland Indians, who have been crapping the past couple series.
Them too. So he threw a no-hitter yesterday on
Kansas
Sunday
City
afternoon.
wants to throw a no-hitter against them.
Dude.
Kansas City went like 8 innings against the Indians with a no-hitter.
This past week?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
I was watching the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah, was that 11-1? Oh, yeah, they got a run at the end.
Austin Hedges hit it.
What was it up? Yeah, so Alec Mills threw a no-hitter yesterday against the Cubs in a 12-0 victory against the Brewers. It was
What's up with all the points we've seen? Are pitchers just getting tired, you think?
That I don't know, because you guys are either high scores or low scores scoring games. I mean,
it's kind of crazy. Like maybe the guys on the lower half of the bullpen are just exhausted.
Well, I mean, starters are only going like 5-6 innings, which is where baseball is going now. I mean, not only with the shortened season and all that, the guys are trying to see their starters, but they're not going as long as they always have been because the guys are getting injured. So I mean, people want to use their bullpen because that's a strength of a lot of teams.
It's definitely interesting to see. You know, we've seen 29-point games, 20-point games, a few 17s. We're seeing 12-point games every week now. I mean,
they're definitely having more.
Are we juicing balls? Is there something because there's fans not there?
Well, the fans there work for both ways because I mean, speaking of the Brewers, a guy like Christian Yelich, he has done an MVP winner the last year or so. I mean, he's done nothing all year. I mean, when you're in that type of a slump for a superstar like him, you look to the fans to get you going and to get you on some type of hot streak, and it hasn't happened.
I mean, the fans can get you going, but then if you're going from the pitching spot, I mean, you got all these moving objects behind your pitching zone. Now they're all gone. You're just looking at your catcher. It's like,
it might be harder to throw strikes.
No, I'm thinking it might be easier. I mean, there's no distractions. You're just throwing it to your guy.
It may be harder because,
there's no fans yelling at you. You suck! Get out of here! We don't want you! You call that a strike? My grandma could throw a strike!
Without looking.
My turtle runs faster than you!
But the only thing
I'm looking at you, CC Sabathia.
Hey, don't crap on CC.
I love CC.
Yeah, you gotta love CC.
I love CC.
Well, I mean, I liked him better when he was with the Indians.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Yeah.
Screw him. Yank.
Yeah, but the only thing with talking about the guys behind the plate, I mean, it might be hard for them to throw strikes because I know you're talking about moving stuff behind the plate, but that's all you have to focus on is the plate now. I mean, it might be harder to throw because that's all you're looking at. I mean, you see guys.
I mean, the only other situation we've heard like this is with the NBA, and what those players are saying. Not having the fans behind the scoreboard. Everyone's calling it a shooter's gym. Right. The shooters are loving it. So obviously, it's not 1-to-1 going basketball to baseball, shooting and pitching, but that's probably the closest we have in major professional sports on comparison wise.
Right. I mean, that's all I have in baseball.
All right, let's move it over to the NFL then.
NFL.
Do you have NHL?
Oh, yeah, NHL. Let's see. The Tampa Bay Lightning are about to win against the Islanders. They're up 3-1. They play tomorrow. And the Dallas Stars are up 3-1 against the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
So, all right, so what's the Stanley Cup looking like?
So it's looking like it's going to be Dallas versus Tampa Bay, which I would be okay.
That's a pretty good matchup.
Good matchup.
Who would be the favorite going into that one?
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would be the favorite.
Tampa Bay's been dominant this postseason, haven't they?
Yes. Dallas.
You think they're the favorites?
Dallas is just upsetting people.
So do you think they could pull off the upset against Tampa Bay?
They might be, but Tampa Bay is still the favorite.
All right, that's a bold statement there, Cotton.
If it were to
I want to see Dallas. I'm still running with Dallas.
Yeah.
This team I picked most of the time.
If it were to be Tampa Bay and Dallas, which it looks like, who do you like in how many games?
It's hard. I mean,
obviously you're saying Tampa Bay, but
yeah, but I mean, it could go both ways. The way Dallas is playing right now, they're playing hard, they're playing tough. They're beating teams. They've beaten hard teams already. I mean, Vegas was favored to go this year.
Right.
And they're down 3-1. And Vegas is just as good as Tampa Bay.
Right.
So, I don't know. You might see an
you
upset.
might see
an upset here. Everybody. I mean, NHL can go either way. Last year, the St. Blues, nobody thought they were going to go. They were the worst team.
Nobody thought they would even get there.
No, they were the worst team before at the All-Star break.
We've seen a lot of crazy stuff.
They had the worst. They had the worst record going into the All-Star break, and they made the playoffs and ended up winning the Stanley Cup.
I mean, even if you go back, the Washington Nationals, they weren't favored, were they? Not Nationals.
No,
Capitals. Yeah, they weren't favored, were they?
In 2018.
Yeah, when they won.
I
mean, they were a good team, but
they were a
weren't.
good team. They weren't favored.
No. I mean, so we've seen a lot of teams that aren't the favorites come in the NHL finals and go, hey, I'm taking that with me, by the way, on the way out.
But like you were saying, anything could happen, especially in hockey. Hockey is a sport like baseball. Anything can happen in their playoffs too.
It was probably the most chaotic, just because there's not as many points being scored.
No.
NBA, I mean, it's kind of, especially with the long 7-game series.
It's hard to score
and playing so many
NHL.
minutes, and there's just so much time to score. There's so many opportunities to score. You know, it's kind of it evens itself out. Ball don't lie in the NBA.
I mean, you see the NBA the past couple of years. I mean, you see final scores in playoff games being high scores. I mean, hockey and in baseball, you can win a game just scoring one goal. 1-0. I mean, that's all it takes for one to play.
Most of the time, NBA finals, it comes down to one shot, but you still have 45 other shots before that you have to make to get you to that one spot.
Right.
So we're seeing the better team come out on top more often because you're not getting a random tip in most situations because you accidentally hit the puck into your own player and it bounced into the goalie.
It's you're taking your goalie out to get an extra guy out there, and you're trying to keep it into your own zone, into their zone, so you can score. And if you get it out, if they get it out, that's a no-net goal easily.
Right.
And even if they whip it all the way down.
I mean, unless you're the Blue Jackets, because I believe they missed a wide open goal.
Yeah, well, that's the Blue Jackets. So.
It's like, a chance to win it, and it's wide left.
So
speaking of going wide left, the Browns signed Cody Parkey and cut Austin Seibert.
Saying that
a double to make in Cleveland.
Bringing that headline in, you just want to head on right into
let's go to the NBA. And
NFL. You gotta get your names right, buddy.
I know my name.
That's all that matters.
What is your name?
John Cena. You can't see me because it's an audio-only podcast.
Going to the NFL. Open up this week with week 1, starting on Thursday with the Chiefs taking down the Texans 34-20. Houston struggle showed. I mean, not having Hopkins anymore. He balled out for the Ravens yesterday. I mean, I think he had over 10 receptions or something like that. So they desperately missed him. Did you guys watch that game?
Which game?
The Chiefs and Texans on Thursday.
Yes, I did watch that game.
Was a great game.
That was a great game.
I mean, there was fans there, so it felt like a
it felt like a regular season game. I mean, obviously not as many as normal. But then Clyde Edwards-Helaire had one hell of a debut.
Insane.
It was really great for me because I got him in fantasy. Unfortunately, everyone else on my team sucked, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, it was a great performance by him, especially
to
start it off. I mean, Chiefs definitely continue to look like a favorite to take this one again.
Their offense is just unstoppable. It's definitely.
I mean, if you want to talk about 2 best offenses in the NFL, it's them and the Ravens.
They were double teaming Tyreek Hill, and they just fed it to
Helaire.
Helaire and
who's the other one running back? I can't remember.
I'm checking.
Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins.
That's who you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Thursday night, and then yesterday we had the whole slew of games yesterday.
Right. Yesterday was an exciting one.
Bills, Jets. I didn't get to see any of those games.
But Le'Veon Bell's injured now for the Jets. And their tight end, I got him in one of my fantasy leagues. He got me -1 point, so great job there. Really loved that one.
That's obvious.
He had a fumble. It wasn't his fault. He actually did pretty good. He had 6 receptions. I think it was 59 yards. Then he had a fumble.
Bills are the favorites to win their division this year with the departure of Tom Brady.
That's looking a little different now.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Cam Newton's still getting it done.
New England's not going anywhere. I mean, it's not going to look like
Cam
a runaway.
Did you forget about
it's
me?
not. It's still going to be tough,
Did you forget about me, the MVP? Showing up in his banana suit.
Yeah.
But speaking of Cam Newton, though, you saw all the new faces and all their new teams yesterday.
Yeah.
We finally saw Tom Brady and Tampa
Biggest
Bay.
disappointment.
Phillip Rivers with the Colts.
Biggest disappointment, probably Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
It
the
was.
First drive was promising, and the rest was like...
Right.
The offense, they still scored 23 points. I mean, once they figure it out, I think this is going to be the last.
He still averaged 10 yards per reception, right. So 23 for 36, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, so we finally...
Hold on, timeout. Buccaneers get rid of Jameis Winston, who had a TD interception ratio of 1-1. Tom Brady's first game, TD interception ratio 1-1. They really upgraded their guys, and they brought in a 42-year-old guy to replace the 28-year-old guy. Good move there, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting on the sidelines thinking, "You guys got rid of me for that. I could have done the same thing."
He was sitting there laughing like, "I don't even have to turn on this iPad.
I'm sitting here.
I'm the backup to Taysom Hill." Who actually did get into the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
1 for 1, 38 yards.
The reverse pass.
Yeah, had 3 runs as well.
Yeah, so we saw Tom Brady.
Let's talk about another new face, Phillip Rivers with the Colts.
Yeah. Didn't look good.
No, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Did pass for 363 yards, though.
On 46 attempts.
Dear
God, I think these teams need to learn how to run the football.
Yeah.
Get back to the basics.
If you're talking about football, run the ball. You want to know how well it worked for the Kansas City Chiefs? I'd say it worked pretty well. If we go Kansas City Chiefs, let me see how many rushes they had.
That's what they do well. Andy Reid will throw it when he has to throw it.
Right. Mahomes had 32 passes for 3 touchdowns. Then they ran the ball 34 times. 34 rushes. The Colts had 12. You see the disparity.
The Colts running back, Nyheim Hines, we're going to go with that, had 7 carries for 20.
Didn't Marlon Mack get hurt?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he tore his ACL, didn't he?
Yes.
Or had some type of knee injury, so that's going to hurt for them. Yeah, do you have anything else on the Colts?
No. Want to talk about a record that was broken this week? We had one. It was week 1.
Really?
Yeah. Cam Newton set a record for the Patriots. The first Patriots quarterback to have more than 60 rushing yards in a game. He didn't have to go very far, but he did it.
It's definitely not something they're used to in Fox.
What game do you want to jump to next?
We got all the ones yesterday.
I was at work for most of the
Cam
day,
Newton had 75 on 15 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns.
So what do you guys think for Cam Newton doing? Do you like
I think it worked
so far? I know it was only 1 game and small sample size, but
yeah, I think he's gonna fit in.
I think they're the. I think
like
they remain the favorites. You know what?
That's a good
argument. Keep saying this in basketball. Yeah. The AFC East still runs through the Patriots until they prove it doesn't run through them.
You're right.
Exactly.
The conference is theirs until it isn't.
McDaniels is getting comfortable with Newton. Belichick, if you give Belichick any player, he'll find a way to win with
You couldn't have asked.
He's shown that before.
I think I know the game we go to next. We got the Green Bay Packers and the Vikings. 43-34 final score. Packers take game 1. Aaron Rodgers just made a statement. So, with their first round pick, the Green Bay Packers traded up, acquired a quarterback, Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers, made a few comments afterwards like, I'm still here, though. I thought, I'm the starter. And he just went out there and proved it. 32 for 44, 364 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't even the best part of this entire game. The best part, the storyline, Devontae Adams, 14 receptions, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If anyone started him in fantasy, in a PPR league, I think he got 41 points.
They were feeling pretty good, whoever did that.
I know, my opponent had him. I wasn't too happy. Henry? Yeah, my boy Henry had him, and I was like, oh man, I had Michael Thomas. He got me 5.6. I got blown out this week in that matchup, so. But that's the storyline here. Aaron Rodgers just went, nah, this is still my house.
He's a bad man.
He is a bad man.
They were saying
he put on his cheese head and went to work.
Yep, he did.
But on the other side, the Vikings did not play bad. Cousins 19 for 25, so only missed 6 passes, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, but it was the 1 interception where he really got burned. Then look at his number 1 wide receiver, Adam Thielen, 6 receptions, 110 yards for 2 touchdowns. That's pretty much all you can ask for.
It's not like they played bad.
No. I mean, you just got beat by Aaron Rodgers showing he can still perform at his age.
Which a lot of people get beat by.
Right.
So,
Aaron Rodgers just went out there and made a statement that, hey, I may be old,
but I'm still Aaron Rodgers.
But I'm still me.
Yep.
I'm still the State Farm double check guy.
Oh, God.
Running out there with a touchdown belt. Oh, you got to bring that one back.
Yeah, they do.
Then let's just keep moving down the line.
So we talked a little bit about the Packers. I mean, I'm not going to let you skip over your Browns. What happened?
Oh, no, we're going to get there.
That's the...
yeah, okay, let's talk Browns. The Browns were,
horrible.
you could almost say they laid a Cleveland steamer.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really
That's my fantasy football game.
For those of you that don't know what we're referring to when we're referring to the Cleveland Steamer, look up Odell Beckham Jr., Cleveland Steamer. That's about as much as we'll say on that. There's some talk going around the league. I think they laid a fat one, though. Baker Mayfield, disappointing. Threw about 52% on the game, 21 for 39, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception. The Browns forgot what their bread and butter was, Nick Chubb. Mm-hmm. The guy had 10 attempts. Are you serious? His backup, Kareem Hunt, had 13.
3 more, yeah.
But he was averaging 0.5 yards per carry. I mean, he was averaging 0.5 less yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, run the ball. Why are they doing anything else?
And that's what we were talking about with all these other teams. You got to run the ball.
Right.
You have to run the ball. You have to keep it. You have to establish.
I mean, they still ran in total. I think it was 26 times. One of those was with their punter on a bad trick play that went absolutely nowhere because Jamie Gillen had some terrible downfield blocking in that one. I mean, it was just they got dominated by the Ravens. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Then the kicker, Austin Seibert missed a PAT. He missed a field goal. Next day, he gets cut and replaced by the double doink, Cody Parkey. Browns signed him this morning, and then 3 hours later, we see Seibert getting cut. Oh, funny enough, though, the Cincinnati Bengals are now looking for a kicker as well because theirs got injured. So now the thing is what if they just signed Seibert and he went, because the Bengals, they lost on a kick at the end of the game because their kicker tore something in his leg on the kick as he missed it. Now, if they bring in Austin Seibert and end up winning the next Sunday on a kick, wouldn't that be ironic?
And against the Browns this Thursday.
Oh, you're right. This Thursday.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So that'll be.
I mean, we're just flipping this over to the other side of the ball. Lamar Jackson had himself a game.
Baker versus Burrow. That'd be a good matchup Thursday, though. But
right?
Lamar
Heisman
Jackson.
Trophy winners.
Well, we thought Baker and Lamar would have been a good one, but
yeah, it still has
Baker
some trophy
kind of
winners, but
2 Heisman Trophy winners, and one of them has showed up in the NFL, and the other one is still running from the police.
They should have taken his trophy away after that.
Yeah, possibly. Then you go on the other side of the ball. Lamar Jackson had a pretty good game, you could say. 20 for 25, 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Great for you fantasy owners. I know I was pretty happy with that one. He also had 7 carries for 45 yards. Big story, though. J.K. Dobbins didn't get too many rushing attempts. He had 7 carries, 22 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I'm so mad. I went before the whole draft. I'm like, oh, Pittsburgh needs to pick Dobbins. Over and over, right? And they passed on him.
Complaining about it for a while.
They passed on him. They picked Chase Claypool. We'll find out how good he does tonight. Steelers play the Giants tonight.
Which was a good pick.
Yeah, he was good. He can catch. Big guy, can reach over people. He's really good at Notre Dame. But
Dobbins is good.
Dobbins is great. And it's just a lot more painful that the Ravens picked him, our dreaded division rival.
I mean, if you think about it, the Browns still won on Sunday.
What?
I mean, if you think about it, the Browns got moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
The Ravens technically is the Browns organization. if you want to get technical with it. I mean, hey, the Rams are technically also a Cleveland football team. They got moved out a little earlier and they won. So Browns won twice on Sunday. How about that?
How about no?
I'm not going for that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Get out of here. Next game,
The Eagles blew a 17-0 lead
on
the Washington football team.
That they might
what's
keep the
his-
name.
Right, they might keep the
People
name.
have been calling. I don't know about you guys, but other people have been saying that I'm completely nuts. But when I say this, I mean it. Carson Wentz is a bust. Okay, complete bust. Okay, he's injured every year. Okay, all right. I know he had the best record. He got him to the playoffs, but Nick Foles came in and got them that Super Bowl because he got injured. Again, he has trouble staying healthy, and when he comes in, he hasn't played in a while because he's been injured a lot, and he doesn't even know how to play anymore. He's horrible. He was one of my candidates for Meathead of the Week, but I gave it to somebody else.
I mean, he didn't play terrible.
I know.
24.
I'm just saying he's one of the
You're giving
candidates.
it right.
I'm not giving
He
it
was
away.
24 for 42 with 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions,
Yeah.
which cost him the game going down the stretch.
He did get sacked 8 times, but that is a little bit of the offensive line's
Yeah, I think you
fault.
probably have to blame that mostly on the offensive line. But
Still,
we've
get
talked
rid of the
about
ball.
how good this defensive line for the football
Yeah,
team
you
might
got
be.
Chase Young.
Chase Young.
Boy.
Chase Young's first sack in the NFL. You guessed it. It was a strip sack.
Yeah.
It was a strip sack. Yep. I mean, he led the league, college football last year in strip sacks. No surprise, first one out there, he strips Carson
No,
Wentz.
it's not surprising. You said that from him.
But then Dwayne Haskins wasn't great. I mean, didn't do a lot. They relied more on their running game, as they should. He was 17 for 31, 178 yards and a touchdown. That's good. That's what you want to see.
Yeah,
Second-year
solid.
quarterback, first time in a opener. He didn't
Full
play
season, right?
Right. This is his first full season that we're going to see him. And they rely on their running game, which they should have been doing more last year.
Right.
They ran it 26 times with their 2 starters. Dwayne Haskins even ran the ball 7 times. So he got 17 yards there. I mean, but on the defensive side, their defense played great. Their defense won them this football game. They had, like you said, a bunch of sacks there. Chase Young, Rookie of the Year defense. he's in contention.
He's
Yeah.
definitely there.
He just wrote his name at the top of the board and went, "Y'all catch me."
Yeah.
Who was the Heisman contender last year? Who was the first defensive contender in 20 years?
Yes,
That was
the
me. That was me, Chase Young.
the first since Charles Wilson.
Right. I mean, you can't really ask for much more. They played great. I mean, it's promising to see 1-0 now in the season. Any thoughts?
I think I think they should change the name. I don't think they should stay with the Washington football team. Okay.
I don't think anybody thinks they should.
Well, I mean, there's been some
definitely
things
options
going
for
around.
that.
All the fans were going with it. No, change the name. Okay.
The fans are disengaged, so they're not going to
Yeah.
get. They can't
Yeah.
depend on the fans to
No.
get feedback on that.
No.
The only reason it's getting positive feedback is because right now it's an internet meme.
Right.
It's a meme. They're the meme team. We talked about the Colts game, but you didn't talk about the other side of it. You
No.
talked about Phillip Rivers. I'm talking Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, what's up,
Minshew Mania. 19 for 20. 95% pass completion on the game. 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. Minshew Mania's running wild on you, brother.
It's
What's-
continuing.
Did we
Let's
talk
continue. I love
about the other comeback Bears Lions?
Yeah, we're getting there.
But did we?
We're talking. No,
But did we
yeah.
talk? Okay.
Nah,
Yeah.
we're talking Jags.
Well, I got a game that was fairly easy. A runaway victory for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. Another
Wilson.
good game for him.
This guy was on my
MVP.
bench.
MVP.
This guy's on my bench in my fantasy league.
Well,
I would have been in
so
the
he
lead
threw-
if I had him.
So he threw 4 touchdown passes as they defeated
4
Atlanta.
touchdown passes, 322 yards.
38-25 they won. That was most passing touchdowns
They
by a
beat the
Seahawks
mean
quarterback
machine.
in a season opener. First time it's ever happened to
It's
Seahawks.
Russell Wilson against the mean machine.
Yep. So yeah, good one for
And Adam
Seahawks.
Sandler out.
Can we talk about? I think this goes back to we didn't have a preseason this year. Defenses have been awful defending the pass. Look at some of these guys' pass completions. Minshew, 19 for 20. Lamar Jackson, 20 for 25. Obviously, the Browns are destroyed at the secondary. Everyone's injured.
Right.
But then you had Russell Wilson, 31 for 35. We're getting quarterbacks missing 4 or 5 passes in a game. I mean, maybe that has to do with the secondaries not getting in-game reps during the preseason that we normally see.
Yeah.
I mean, normally, they'll get 6 to 10 quarters working all this stuff out. I mean, that's just more
communication, right? In-game communication sometimes doesn't translate from the practice field to the gridiron.
And like you're saying with the practice, I mean, the no preseason games. I mean, it's going to show at some point.
Definitely.
Let's talk about
Raiders Panthers.
I want to talk about Matt Ryan for a second. He didn't have a bad game. He had 450 passing yards. He went 37 of 54, had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's not that bad, okay? But they lost. But I mean, he still had a solid showing.
Yeah,
so.
Right. I mean, this game.
Todd Gurley as well, 14 carries. Not a lot of yards, but he did have a touchdown. But I think he'll fit in better as the year goes on.
As the season moves on, he gets more integrated into the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes back. No preseason. There's no room for these guys to earn those reps that they should be getting once we hit game 1.
It's a build upon the chemistry.
Exactly. Especially chemistry between an O-line and a running back is huge. Let's move on to another game. Raiders, Panthers.
Yeah.
A 4-point game. Raiders win it.
Raiders'
first time in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that Raiders team. I like John Gruden, old timer coming in, taking over rings a couple years ago when they were in Oakland.
And look at this.
I like this story. I do.
Derek Carr only missed 8 passes, 22 for 30, 239 yards, 1 touchdown. And they ran the ball. Oh, God, did they run the ball. Josh Jacobs had 25 carries. And look at that. The team that ran the ball a bunch won the football game. Who would have guessed?
So figured.
I mean, they beat the other running team, which is the Panthers, who have, Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater had his first start with the Panthers there. 22 for 34, 270 yards and 1 touchdown. Pretty good. Then McCaffrey also 23 carries, 96 yards. Not bad.
Typical McCaffrey.
Yeah, with 2 touchdowns.
Like I said before, season moves on, that Panthers team is going to look good. Teddy B and McCaffrey back there.
It's a good running move.
Yeah.
It definitely fits.
And you want to go over to the Raiders side, Henry Ruggs in his NFL debut, only 3 receptions for 55 yards. But I'm sure they're going to get him the ball more, give him a couple, options. And if they get a little player route, with him to stand over there, and they get it to him and he has open space, that guy's going to roast some people.
Let's talk about another close game. Another 4-point game.
You're gonna go
the Bears, the Lions. Mitchell Trubisky. So earlier in the year, Bears signed Nick Foles. They got Nick Foles with the team.
Yep.
Yes.
There's controversy that, who's going to be the starter come game 1. They say it was Mitch. He came out there, didn't have the best pass completion, 20 for 36, but he had 242 yards and 3 touchdowns. They apparently lit a fire under his A-double squealy lid and told him, you better step up or step out. So that apparently worked for them. That game came down to the wire. Matthew Stafford, on the other hand, put up the yards, didn't put up the touchdowns, and he had an interception. 24 for 42, 297 yards, the touchdown, the interception. Adrian Peterson had 14 carries, 93 yards, no touchdowns, though. So
old man still proves that he can grind now. Almost 100 yards.
Right. Interesting decision for the football team to cut Peterson. They obviously still did good in the running game.
Yeah. A week before the season. Adrian Peterson says, I've been here long enough. Hand me the ball. Let me go do my job. And he did it to perfection.
Let's talk about another veteran out there, Danny Amendola, playing for the Lions. Former Patriot. 5 receptions, 81 yards.
Yeah, solid performance. What are the games we got here?
I want to talk about. Let's talk about this Cardinals-Niners game here. How about that upset? Cardinals coming out.
I don't know. Do you call it an upset?
Well,
I
would say
Cardinals.
I would say so.
Bias aside.
I think what did I pick them in our show that we did earlier? How many wins did I give them? I gave them 6, right?
Something like that. But they came out and beat the defending NFC champion.
Yeah. At their home stadium.
Kyler Murray come out. No, you don't like him a whole lot?
I don't, but he did well. Running the ball, 13 carries for 91 yards with the touchdown. Yeah. Passing could use a little bit of improvement, but young guy, 26 or 40, 230 yards.
DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm willing to give these guys credit where credit is due. He pulled up when they needed to. But
as I said, Hopkins with double-digit receptions. I mean, he definitely shows why. It gives us another reason why that was just a boneheaded trade by the Texans.
Yeah, I don't care.
Hey, David Johnson did really great in that.
He did, but I mean, come on, he's not that level.
I think I'd rather have my quarterback throwing it to the best wide receiver in the NFL than handing it off to the 38-year-old running back. Yeah. But that's just me.
That was only because of fantasy.
Go ahead, Bill O'Brien. I don't care. I hate
How about Chargers Bengals? Another close game. 16-13. Bengals miss the game-tying field goal at the end of the game.
Joe Burrow leads them all the way down the field. I'm like, oh my God, look at this drive. And this meathead, oh, whoops, I gave it away, misses the field goal.
You might as well just say it now.
No, we'll save it for later.
Yeah, because they're going to be so shocked at the end of the show.
Well, we haven't said his name yet, so maybe they're still guessing.
Just go ahead.
All right.
This week's Meathead of the Week.
All right, this Meathead of the Week is Randy Bullock, because he just completely shanked this kick. Burrow led him all the way down the field, and this Meathead just misses the kick. He made 2 kicks on the day. Didn't he make it 50 yards or something like that?
In overtime.
Yeah. He made a couple
kicking
kicks
Bullock long 50 yards on the game, yeah.
He made a 50-yarder, and he missed that little chip shot.
I mean, Joe Burrow, it was an all right start, 23 for 36, 193 yards.
Yeah.
And
the big play is when he ran in and did the whole ground slam.
Right. The big play is when, he didn't use his arm that he's known for. He ran the ball.
Yeah.
Because his offensive line kind of collapsed around him, and he was like, guess it's time to go, and then ran behind his tight end to the end zone, 29 yards. I mean, it was an all right performance by them. Yeah. AJ Green looked good, 5 receptions, 51 yards.
I can't wait to see that matchup Thursday. Bengals, Browns.
It should be a good one. Yeah,
that should be a good game.
I mean, on the other side of the ball, give credit where credit's due to the Chargers, though. I mean, they played a decent game. Joey Bosa had 5 tackles and a sacks.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. I believe it's actually Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Or Tool Rod Taylor, as we called him in Cleveland. 16 for 30, 208 yards. No stats in the touchdown column, though, which is probably interesting because the Bengals don't have a great defense. Interesting that they were able to stop the Chargers at all. So
yeah. Last game we didn't get into was that Rams-Cowboys game at the end.
Rams and the boys. Your team.
That's your
team. How about them Cowboys?
Well,
they lost.
All right, I'm gonna before we get to the last couple seconds, their offense just I don't know what their problem is. Their offense could be one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, they got the 3-headed monster.
I mean, if you look at the stats, their stats make it seem like it was a great game by any other team standards. Zeke Elliott, 22 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. You go Dak Prescott, 25 for 39, 266 yards and a touchdown. I mean, you go to their number 1 wide receiver, 10 receptions for 81 yards. That was Amari Cooper. Even the backup rookie, CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions for 59 yards. I mean, by all accounts, the offense looks like it should have won the game.
I'm not going to get mad over one game, but they're running out of excuses. I mean, they have everything on offense, and their defense is still decent. I mean, it's not what it was a couple years ago.
Their defense forced an interception.
The
Rams did not get a passing touchdown.
Vander Esch is great when he's healthy, but he just got hurt.
6 to 8 weeks he's out, but I mean, they just got a new coach, Mike McCarthy. I mean, they don't have any excuses.
McCarthy knows how to win. All right, he produced winning seasons, won Super Bowl with Green Bay against the Steelers.
Right.
So
they're running out of excuses. I mean, is Dak the problem? I don't know.
Is Dak the problem? I mean, I don't know. 25 for 39 isn't terrible. It's only missing 14 passes. He's averaging more than 10 yards per reception.
How he's been.
And if we're going down to that last few minutes, he would have added another 40 yards on 50 yards onto
potentially game-winning drive. It would have been
on a potentially game-winning drive that was controversial.
So let's
in the ending.
give our I don't know what to say, like things here. All right, was that offensive pass interference or not, Alec?
No, I'll let Mike start with this one.
Well,
it's his team.
Figuring him aside, I did not see enough there to call offensive pass interference the last couple seconds. I mean, he extended the arm, but it wasn't a full extension, and you saw it's a flop by Ramsey. I mean, I just don't think you can call that late in the game. That's I
don't know. You want me to give my thoughts on this? All right. So, obviously, I am a partial fan of the Cowboys because I like Zeke Elliott.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put that in there. I'm a Buckeye, so Zeke Elliott, love it. He hasn't been phenomenal off the field, but on the field, great. So going down, we know most times at the end of the games, referees normally let some hand fighting go on between receivers and corners. So most of the time, even with a call like this, they normally keep the flag in their pocket. And some of that has to do with the crowd. You know, the crowd's calling for something, or they're like, yeah, celebrating. They sometimes are hesitant. Now we don't see the crowd. They call it. Most of the time, they don't call at the end of the games.
Yeah.
There was, if we're going textbook definition, it's easy to see how a referee in a bad position can see a push-off.
Right, I get that.
You can see where his arm extends. It's not a lot of force, but when you're both running down the field, any little push can halt your momentum. And that's why they called it. You see the wide receiver just extend his arm just a little bit. It gives him just enough space
but was
to
it a
where he
push
can
off?
make the play.
But was it a
push-off
push-off?
or an extension? It wasn't.
It was like a little.
I get what you're saying.
I don't know, but I'm
just
saying-
like,
I'm trying to
hey
see
man,
this from
I'm
the
here.
referee.
Yeah, it was like, hey man, I'm here. I'm leaving.
Right, from a referee's
From
perspective.
the referee's perspective, I see that every time you see that wide receiver extend his arm, you call it. That is what they're taught. That is what they're told. Keep in mind, these are all part-time employees.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same as going to Walmart. I ain't get paid enough for this. You know, he sees what he's calling what he sees. If I see the arm extend, I'm calling you. If you don't want to get called, don't extend the arm.
But the only thing is like when the receiver and the corner are running together, they both are touching. They both have a hand on the hip. That's what you're taught.
Yeah.
So I mean, the touching thing, it's just I don't see that.
It's
as being offensive pass interference in the last 30 seconds.
Not in the last 30 seconds. There doesn't get called.
There wasn't enough there to me.
Granted, it's week one.
Give
the referee some slack. You know, it's game one.
If the Cowboys would have played better, that wouldn't have mattered. So
right, but you know, once again, we're talking preseason. Referees use the preseason, you know,
to get going,
to get everything refreshed in their mind. You know, they also just had 9 months off. So like they were working other jobs in those 9 months. Right. Now you got to go remember how to call a football game.
Right.
Like you were saying, they put their hand on the hip, to identify where the players, trackable. Instead of on the hip, it was right there.
Right.
He had him up on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So
I don't. From what you were saying, from a referee's standpoint, yeah, it was pass interference, but I wouldn't.
As a fan,
that's just going by the book.
Right.
It doesn't get called.
Watching the game and seeing that, it's just there's just not enough there for that, and that could have won them the game. But like I said, if they would have played better the whole game before that, it wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly.
So that's our thoughts. I
now we got one game left, or we got two games left. 2 games on Monday night.
We got Steelers at Giants at 7 in the first.
Let's talk about the other one first.
Titans Broncos is second at 10:30.
Titans Broncos. It's interesting. See if the Broncos can finally respond. Yeah. Do we see Tennessee continue the hot streak from last season's playoffs?
You got that young Bronco team. You got that young Bronco team with Drew Lock. Then you got speedy receivers KJ Hamler from Penn State, and you got Jerry Jeudy.
Did get hurt though.
Yeah, I know, but you got Jerry Jeudy as well on offense.
Yeah.
Defense. Yeah. Next man up.
Yeah, I mean they have talent on offense. I mean, so speaking of Tennessee though, like we didn't get to talk about last week, not having a show, but Clowney going to the Titans. I mean,
Clowney going to the Titans
for them.
Yeah,
and we've seen a lot of close games in week 1 here. No game is. I mean, besides a few, most games are 1 or 2 possessions away. Points wise, we're not seeing 35-point victories. We're seeing a lot of 7 to 12-point victories. Things like that. So
all these games were close over the weekend, besides Browns, but they're all.
Hey, they showed a lot of promise on. They're really going to deliver the Cleveland Steamer to the toilet bowl this year. So.
And they could win this Thursday. All right, it's a toss-up.
They could win Thursday. I mean,
you would think they would, but
hey, you know what? Baker Mayfield had a great progressive commercial putting the seat. He put the seat covers out there. So
we'll go faster if you help too.
Right? Yeah. If we can just get everybody in the Brown Stadium, we can put the seat covers on, at least keep the stadium looking nice for next season. We'll come on back with
we'll meet in the middle.
Right, yeah, we'll just get a new quarterback next year. We'll get somebody else. This isn't going to work. But that is a question. How much longer do they ride Baker?
I
think
don't know.
If he doesn't deliver.
Who's backup?
It's
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. Former quarterback for
the
Vikings and Kevin
Stefanski.
Stefanski. Yeah. He knows the system.
He does.
And he ran it pretty good, if I had to say, considering that was Case Keenum's best ever season. Yeah. It was with Stefanski's offense. Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is it for Baker. If he doesn't get a winning record,
this is going to make.
If he doesn't get a winning record, he needs it. It has to be winning record. Even if they don't make the playoffs, it's understandable with the AFC North. Because if we get 3 teams with a winning record,
it's got to be 8-8 or above.
He has to get.
It can't be 7.
I don't think 8-8 would do it either.
9-7. You're saying?
It has to be 9 or 7. And that's it.
That's arguable. Yep.
I mean, because there's some good prospects coming up next year or two. Browns can move on quick, and that's not to mention all the backup quarterbacks in the NFL that we're just getting so many, even older guys.
And we saw so many going to different places this offseason.
Right, we just saw the most hectic quarterback offseason in history. We got 1 game left though.
Talk about your Steelers, Giants.
We got the Steelers. We got the Giants. We got Saquon. We got Big Ben. Danny Dimes.
Big Ben's first game since week 2 last year.
God. Yeah, let's see it.
We've been talking all the whole time while he was injured and all offseason how he was the missing piece, so we're gonna have to see if he's going to be.
Yeah, we'll see. Juju was better with Ben Roethlisberger.
Do we see the same defense, or do we see a better defense?
It's hard to imagine a better one,
right?
Yeah.
My fantasy team is really hoping for one, and I think I need like a 60-point performance with his defense.
We got our slew of running backs. James Conner repping up. That guy's got muscles on his back. Muscles, okay.
His muscles got muscles.
His muscles got muscles. You got Benny's now. He's promising. He's moving up. Then you got Antoine McFarland, the guy from Maryland. Yes. And then the one other guy, I forget.
Jalen Samuels?
Jalen Samuels, yeah.
Yeah, he's more of your...
third down back.
Third down, but he's also going to be...
Your...
kind of more of a flex position. Not as flex as fantasy, but he's going to play a wide receiver, and he's also going to come in and run the ball. Yeah. If you want to run a halfback sweep, you're using him.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
You got rookie Chase Claypool, who they picked instead of, who I wanted they pick.
Did you guys really need another running back, though? Come on.
No.
You have like 5, and they're like, what if we got another one?
Well, at the time, we needed one. All we had was Samuels and Connor before that.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You got Benny Snell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Benny Snell. Yeah. But let's see, Juju can rejuvenate himself. This is a game. Everybody's saying, he didn't have Big Ben. You had Rudolph. You had Devlin Hodges.
I really hope he can rejuvenate himself.
You got Chase Claypool. Like I said before, he's that guy can get up and catch that ball like he showed in Notre Dame. He can go over people. He just uses his body to,
I'm not a fan of where they picked him, but he is a good pickup.
Yeah, he's a good pickup. You got Vance McDonald. You got the new pickup Eric Ebron too, as well with the tight end. Yeah.
So do you like?
Oh yeah.
Do you like him tonight? Or?
Yeah. I think they should win tonight if they don't foul up.
Well, you want to make a prediction for this game?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. The big Monday night game. I mean, Broncos Titans is it's kind of the back.
It's good, but
it's taking the back seat to the Steelers. I think. Yeah. At least in our territory.
They just gotta keep Barkley in check. They can't let him explode.
No, they can let Barkley go. They have to pick one. Stop the run, stop the pass.
Make Daniel Jones beat him.
Yeah, make
Jones beat him.
No, you have to make Saquon beat you. Take away. It's the same thing when you go to the NBA, right? All the teams always say, "We know we can't stop LeBron, so we're stopping everybody but LeBron."
Right.
So in this situation, we know we can't stop Saquon. Let's stop everybody else. Yeah. Let's stop Danny Dimes. Let's get through this defense, which probably isn't going to be too hard for Big Ben. He's experienced. He's read just about every defense possible.
Right.
He knows this offense
He's out there.
The back of his hand or the front
of his hand. Everybody has been saying, all his receivers that came out to work out with him have been saying that he's better than he was.
Right.
Out there zipping
He got
50s.
rid of that beer belly that he had last year and shaved that beard.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah. He lost weight and then regained it after he got hurt.
Right.
Then lost it again.
Let's make a prediction.
So that means so he's been working out.
Give me a score prediction, Mike. Matt, you'll go last.
Okay. No, because you're your team. Okay. I just don't know how the Steelers' offense is going to be having Big Ben back. That's the only.
I mean, that's the biggest question. We know the defense is good.
I'm going to say Steelers 23 to 14.
That's close.
I got the Steelers 32-10.
Okay. I got Steelers 27-14.
Right.
Yeah, that's close to mine. So we all got the Steelers winning.
Yeah.
As a lot
I
of
mean,
people
but
do,
that's not to say that.
I hate Saquon.
That's not to say the Giants can't win, but
yeah, Saquon is.
I mean, if the Steelers' offense doesn't show up, it doesn't matter how good the defense for the Steelers is going to be.
They got to score points.
Because you have to limit. I mean, Saquon's going to get points. He's going to get yards. It's just a matter of how many they can hold him to.
How about they got back their backup, another backup, Josh Dobbs coming back?
Mm-hmm.
So I like Dobbs. I really like Dobbs coming in and taking over for Ben when he got hurt before. So
Right. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a good one tonight. But so, like I said, we got that. It's 7 o'clock, and then the Titans Broncos and nightcap at 10:30.
Sounds like a good night
Sounds
for
like
football.
good night. So if you 2 games on tonight, football fans, just sit back and watch it. It's like a second version of yesterday with multiple games on. That's about it with NFL.
I think that's just about all we have for the show, except
So
I got games of the week.
you got games
I was just gonna get into that. Yeah.
Games of the week. So I think I'm going to keep the one sport this time. It's NBA, and it's going to be the Clippers and the Nuggets. It has
Right, yeah.
Clippers and Nuggets. That's game of the week. Everything else is kind of taking a back seat. What's happening there? Obviously, Celtics Heat is going to be great, but still only going to be game 1.
Even tonight's a good one, as we were talking about in football, but you're
Right.
saying basketball.
But I mean, game 7. Are you kidding me? Yeah, there's one game of the week. Clippers Nuggets. Watch it. We will. We will. You will. Everybody will. I'm sure it'll have great ratings. Game 7 to determine your,
Who
Western
plays the Lakers?
Conference. Be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
What was the best game of the week in football, and what was the worst game? I already know what the worst game was. You probably.
Worst game, probably. Man, this one's really hard. I can't really think of anything. I mean, who really got blown out this week? I mean,
There was only one. I mean,
that Bengals game was just pretty awful to watch. So was the football team game. But worst game probably has to go to the dog pound in Cleveland.
Best game?
Best game?
Mike, do you agree with him?
Oh, I
Worst
agree.
game? Oh, yeah.
Best game? Probably Green Bay.
I say so too. I say it, or
Because it was close.
I like the
Cowboy
Breeze.
one.
I like the Breeze Brady matchup. I like that, but I wouldn't say that was
Yeah,
the
but
best.
Brady was just disappointing.
Yeah.
And Gronk didn't do much.
No.
Unfortunately. He really ruined my fantasy team, too. I'm still winning that matchup. Over
No,
my
wait.
cousin.
I have Gronk on my fantasy team.
I'm on a different league.
Okay.
You don't matter.
Yes,
That's my game of the week. All right, guys, make sure to check us out. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Anchor. You can find us just about anywhere the internet is. Just go on Google, type in Casual Sports Report. We pop up eventually. Make sure to subscribe, like, hit notifications so you hear every time we upload something new. As always, I'm Alec Caberna.
I'm Matt Morrison.
I'm Mike Wolfgang.
Enjoy the sports this week. We got tons going on. Can't wait to see you again next week. Or, see you again. Whatever.
Actually.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.